Hello, welcome to my video. My name is Gary, and today, rather right now, the topic is Lyft. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my experience with Lyft and what I'm doing with it now, how I started with it, etc. And let you know if the way I'm handling it right now is suitable or possible for you to do yourself in your own specific situation. So what I'm doing here is I'm on my way to San Francisco from Fresno to drive for Lyft in San Francisco. I've been doing this for the past 2 weekends, staying 3 days at a time in San Francisco, driving anywhere from 10 to 14 hours a day, and sleeping in my car. All right. So I drive up. It takes about 3 hours. Once I get there, I turn the app on. No, I actually turn the app on as soon as I'm leaving town. I'll explain why I do that a little bit later. Turn the app on, drive to San Francisco, drive all day, drive till 2:30. The rides end around 2:30 because that's when the bars close. I should be counting my ums. I'm not taking, I just went to a Toastmasters in Fresno as recommended by my mentor, Jan. Because I would like to increase my public speaking skills. And I know one of the things they do there is counting the ums and the ahs. So you want to keep specific to the point. I know I'm probably rambling now and not being very specific, but it's okay. I'm just driving and just making a video, so hopefully you can hear this. So the idea is, very simply put, is that if you're living in a small town, or even if you're living in a large town, there's a possibility that there will be a oversaturation of drivers, and there will be not enough rides needed per driver. So you could have 20 drivers at any given moment, and only 5 people per hour need a ride. So the other 15 may be left hanging for that entire hour. So that if you're trying to do this full time, if you're trying to do this as your only source of income, you cannot do it in a city like Fresno unless you're using Uber and Lyft. And even in that case, it doesn't work that great in Fresno. So if you go to San Francisco, you can drive all day, even on a Thursday, like today's a Thursday, and I expect to be able to drive from around 2 o'clock. That's when I should get there, to 2:30 or whenever I feel like. So, the other reason why this works, why I think this works okay, is because why the oversaturation problem is not as big of a deal in San Francisco as it is in Fresno is because if you're living in San Francisco and driving for Lyft, you're paying a lot for rent or mortgage or whatever, and you're not seeing very much of the money that you're making. If you're traveling to San Francisco and sleeping in your car, or using the Couch Surfers app, or sleeping with a friend or whatever, so you're not paying rent, you're keeping a large amount of your earnings, as opposed to spending $700, $800, $1,000 a month staying somewhere. So that's why I think there's not an oversaturation of drivers in San Francisco, nor will there ever be. So Lyft has been around for at least a year, a couple of years, maybe coming up on a couple of years now. And if there's going to be an oversaturation, I think it would have already hit by now. So that's why I think it works okay in a city like San Francisco, because there's enough demand. There's very limited space there, so people don't own their cars very much. People don't own that many cars. Not that many people own cars in San Francisco. Yeah, so it's working so far. You just need to, if you're doing what I'm doing, you have to prepare. Preparation is key. I've tweaked it every week that I've come back. And oh, back to what I was talking about, why I turned the app on. I turned the app on immediately as I'm leaving Fresno because of the incentives. There's a 10% incentive for 30 hours. You hit 30 hours during the week, you have a 90% or above acceptance rate. And what was the other thing? Oh, and 10 hours of primetime driving, which is the peak hours. That's the first 10% because Lyft always takes out 20% for their fees, but you can get 10% back for that 30 hours, etc. And you can get the whole 20% back, which is the other 10% if you hit 50 hours of driving, have your 10 peak hours, and have your 90% or above acceptance rate. Once you get those, you can have all 20% back. And if you're driving the amount of hours, if you're driving 50 hours in a place like San Francisco, your gross earnings for the week are going to be over $1,000. You're going to be somewhere in the realm of $1,100, $1,200, $1,300 if you're driving exactly 50 hours a week. And that 10% is about $110, $120 per week. So the 20% is $250, $220 to $250, something like that. So it's a lot of money. So they're good. It's a good incentive. I only hit the 10% last week, but I'm gonna go for 20% this week. Okay. So I'm gonna wrap this up because it's already a pretty long video, and we'll see how this goes. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I drove for Lyft for about a month when they first rolled it out in Fresno, so I do have a decent amount of experience driving for the company, and I've been doing it for another 2 weeks, 3 weeks right now, so I'll be gaining more experience